Antimagnetic watches are those that are able to run with minimal deviation when exposed to a certain level of magnetic field. The International Organization for Standardization issued a standard for magnetic-resistant watches, which many countries have adopted. ISO 764 Magnetic Resistant Watches Standard, the international standard ISO 764 Horologia Euro Magnetic Resistant Watches defines the resistance of watches to magnetic fields. According to ISO 764 or its equivalent DIN 8309, a watch must resist exposition to a direct current magnetic field of 4800 AM. The watch must keep its accuracy to a plus or minus 30 seconds day as measured before the test in order to be acknowledged as a magnetic resistant watch. Annex A of ISO 764 deals with watches designated as magnetic resistant with an additional indication of intensity of a magnetic field exceeding 4800 AM. There are two ways of building an anti-magnetic watch. The first way consists in using different alloys, capable of withstanding magnetic fields. These alloys include Invar, Gluciger, Nivarox and Elinvar, an alloy similar to Invar, though less resistant to magnetism and more resistant to thermal influence. These alloys are preferred by different watchmakers due to their differing properties. Since the 1950s, Nivarox and Gluciger were extensively used by watchmakers. In the 1960s, almost all Swiss watches had Gluciger balance and Nivarox hair springs. The anchors, escape wheels and other watch mechanisms were also made of non-magnetic metals or alloys. Another way of making a watch non-magnetic is to house the entire movement into a case made of a highly conductive material. The movement is covered by an additional soft iron clasp to prevent the forming of magnetic fields inside the watch itself. History: the first recorded experiments in anti-magnetic watchmaking are in 1846. Watchmakers from Valor and Constantin were among the first to experiment with anti-magnetic features of a watch. However, they succeeded in assembling the first anti-magnetic watch only several decades later. That watch was able to withstand magnetic fields because some of its parts were made of non-magnetic metals, the palladium-made balance wheel, balance spring and the lever shaft. In 1896 Charles Permil de Guillaume discovered the nickel-based alloy Invar. Afterwards, in 1920, when he received the Nobel Prize in Physics, he developed another alloy, Elinvar. These alloys assisted in the assembly of anti-magnetic watches. Invar and Elinvar are able to resist magnetic fields, allowing the watch to continue to keep accurate time. The first anti-magnetic pocket watch was assembled by Valor and Constantin in 1915. Later, in 1929, Tissot assembled the first ever non-magnetic wristwatch. Usage: since their appearance, anti-magnetic watches have been favored by people who deal with high magnetic fields. They are widespread among electronic engineers and in other professions where strong magnetic fields are present. Today, even divers' watches must be anti-magnetic as well as being water-resistant, sufficiently luminous, shock-resistant and have solid straps. Contributions: after discovering the alloys for assembling anti-magnetic watches, many watchmaking brands utilize such materials in production in order to improve the performance of such timepieces. IWC: in 1989 IWC first manufactured the Ingenieur Reference 3508-1, which was able to withstand huge magnetic fields of up to 500,000 Aries per meter. Omega: the Omega Antimagnetic Seamaster was announced January 17, 2013. According to the press release, the Omega movement does not rely on a protective container inside the watch case but on the use of selected non-ferrous materials in the movement itself. The Omega prototype was subjected to 1.5 Tesla and continued to perform. Testing showed that the watch was as accurate after its magnetic exposure as it had been before. A live demonstration was then made that offered compelling and conclusive evidence that Omega Euro unregistered trademark S nu greater than 15,000 Gauss movement is a landmark development in watchmaking. Omega expects to present the technology at the Basel World Trade Fair in April. The new movement, the Omega Coaxial Caliber 8508, should be introduced to the markets in 2013. Rolex: The Rolex Milgauss series of anti-magnetic certified chronometers was first manufactured in 1954 with the model 6541 for those working in nuclear, aircraft, and medical settings associated with strong magnetic fields. The watch has an advertised magnetic flux density resistance of 1000 Gauss within magnetic fields of 80,000 am. In 2007, after being out of production for nearly 2 decades, a new Milgauss was introduced as the model number 116400. See also, watch, diving watch, shock-resistant watch, water-resistant watch, Rolex Milgauss. References, high-end materials for high-end watches. November 3, 2006. Archived from the original on July 11, 2011. External links, Varon Constantin and non-magnetic watches.